Hello, everyone out there. I'm Joshua Wilson, Corporate Relationship Manager with America's Warrior Partnership. And I've got a really exciting guest to bring with you today for a partnership spotlight. Many of you as employers, small business owners have come to us at America's Warrior Partnership, over the past year looking to hire veterans. Well, here's one of the individuals who could tell you how to hire veterans. He's going to tell you as veterans out there listening to this as well, how you can get involved with Source America. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his military service himself. So I'm super excited to introduce you guys, Johnathan Rose from Source America. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Josh. I appreciate you bringing me on today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate having you. We're always excited to try to, bring forward really awesome people, force multiply what they're doing for good, and figure out how we can bring you some new partners in yourself. So if you want to start, though, by telling us a little bit about your experience in the military, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I joined in 2002. So I just retired after about 20 years, a little over 20 years. I was motor transportation. So I drove all the big trucks, went from all over the world, deployed in Iraq in 2005, deployed in Afghanistan in 2010, where I got injured. Kind of went through, I got hit by a 110-pound IED, blew me out of the first improvised explosive device hole. Got sent to San Antonio for almost 3 years, recovering, going through all that crazy stuff because I had lost a lot of teeth, had burns, broken bones. And then right before I was leaving San Antonio, I got hit by a train on a Veterans Day parade. Then my wife got injured on that. I re-broke my wrist, but she broke the bottom of her spine, her collarbone, her elbow. And we kind of had to move on. Like, she was my caregiver for a while, then I had to become her caregiver. We make it back to the Fleet Marine Force in Camp Lejeune. And I'm like, oh, I'm back. I'm ready to go. And they send me to some weird units. I was always on the ground side, and they send me to like some aviation units. It's a little changing, a little different. And then I got this crazy experience to go work on the Hill. So I was a congressional fellow for a year. Got to go work individually with a member of Congress to work on his veterans and military issues and throughout the whole Congress for a year. Then I went to the Pentagon, and I handled all the Department of the Navy's wounded, ill, and injured policy and care issues for the Navy and the Marine Corps. So I'm very well versed in the wounded, ill, and injured service members realms. And then my last stint was just at Wounded Warrior Regiment, and I oversaw the operations of the 700 plus wounded, ill, and injured Marines we have in the Marine Corps. And just retired, like I said, in August. And now I work here at Source America.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about how you got recruited into Source America, and what made you interested in it, and what you're enjoying about this sort of work.
Funny story. Never thought it was going to happen. I was kind of looking to go work on the Hill again, stuff like that. And about 4 months before I retired, my former chief of staff that I worked on the Hill for calls me up, and he's like, hey, we're looking to do a lot of veteran stuff. I know you're a very savvy speaker on the Hill. We're trying to bring more people into the organizations and help the 450 plus nonprofit agencies we have across all 50 states, Guam, and Puerto Rico. And I'm like, done. He's like, okay, send me your resume. I'm like, oh, I ain't even did a resume yet. I'm trying to Google how to do a resume, trying to do this because I had a federal resume filled out, but not an individual resume. And literally a month after I retired, I started.
Tell us a little bit about Source America and what you guys are doing, big picture, and what your role is in the organization.
Starting off, I'm the veteran policy analyst. So I'm always on Bloomberg News and Fox and CNN and MSNBC trying to find out what veterans issues are and how that can help our organization and the Ability One program. But like the biggest thing that I think that brought it here was being wounded myself, overseeing all that, and like their biggest mission is like to commit to bring stable jobs, competitive pay, and advancement potential for the disability community. I've seen so many of my brothers and sisters get out and like, what am I going to do? And this is a place that can actually do that. So that's what got me so involved in the Source America thing.
I got you. What are some of the issues that you're seeing that are really important to you, like right now, that you kind of got your beat on?
We just had almost 100 members of Congress that are former veterans get elected. That's big. We was in the 70 percentile ish back after Vietnam. I think this Congress, the 117th, was like 16, 17%. Now we're pushing almost 20%. If there's a few elections that haven't been called, but that's some of the big things we're doing because that I'm doing, because I want to try to get after those young freshman members to say, hey, this is what we do. We're trying to get jobs for veterans. It could be janitorial stuff. It could be automotive repair. It could any number of things. And it's great to get veterans because they typically will easily pass to get on base because most of our contracts are on military installations. So it's easy way to keep them involved in the military community if they had to get out or they got forced out because of injury. And it kind of keeps that camaraderie because they bring that back to the team. Because me and you know, like being in the service, once you got your team, today could be the worst day ever. You get your team together and you're like, hey, I feel better, man. I'm ready to get after it. So that's kind of the approach we're going at it, because I would love to work, around other military guys, girls, and just bring other people into the family.
I got you. How are you bringing veterans in?
So I'm starting to go to quite a few job fairs. SourceAmerica is putting out a new job source board. And what that's going to do is push everything out to Indeed, to all those different organizations after that nonprofit agency puts that stuff into the system.
So if you are a veteran or a disabled veteran and you're interested in working with SourceAmerica or getting aid from SourceAmerica, what would you do? What's the plan?
You could go to sourceamerica.org. Under our workforce development, there's a veterans page, and you can click right on that veterans page, and it'll walk the dog with you.
Okay, cool.
And that shows our corporate jobs here at SourceAmerica, and then there's also a link on there to find our nonprofit agencies locators. So if they're wanting to move to Green Bay, they can, there's one on the map. Let me reach out to them.
Do you have any additional advice for veterans who are looking at the job market right now? Any thoughts?
Man, it's so different in all the different parts of the country, but don't stop trying. So I know a lot of people. I just got off the phone with my last sergeant major last night. And he's like, man, I've applied for 5 jobs. I haven't got nothing yet. I was like, you as a recruiter, just like me, the first application you give may not get hired right away, but you got to keep going at it. Just like we don't run away from the enemy in service. We run towards the enemy. Same way, you got to just like networking. I give out a lot of business cards. I may get 2 or 3 phone calls. You just got to keep attacking.
Are there any resources? Of course, I know you would recommend SourceAmerica for finding work. I know you would recommend, America's Warrior Partnership for resources. But are there any resources that you found personally helpful throughout your journey, throughout your military service, throughout the injuries, things that veterans can hear and learn about?
Yeah, always think forward. I've seen so many people get out of service and wait to the last minute to try to think what they want to do. I served 20 years. I thought I was going to get out 4 different times. So I was always trying to, hey, what do I really want to do when I grow up? When I take off these camis in this uniform, what is going to make me a productive part of the community? And being like traveling around trying to do that, because like the Marine Corps mission, we win battles, we fight wars, we send people back to the community better than we got them. That's the way that I take the approach to it. And everybody I talk to, I'm like, hey man, where's your resume? Send it to me. Where's this? I'll help you work it. Don't wait to the last minute to try to do anything. Always be looking forward, like you're getting out tomorrow.
Switching over a little bit to the employers. How do employers connect with SourceAmerica? What can they be doing? What can they be doing to give back?
So there's an actual, on our homepage, on our splash page up at the top right corner, there's an actual link if you want to join the nonprofit agency in trying to do jobs, and they can click right there, fill right out the survey, just like we was kind of talking before. It's a pretty simple form. Fill it out. You send it to us, and we work it from there.
If you're an employer and you want to hire veterans, and you've reached out to SourceAmerica and you started that, what other things do you think employers can be doing?
So I think the biggest thing because I've been talking to a few of our nonprofit agencies across the country, and they're kind of estimating 15 to 20% of the veteran population doesn't even check the box on the application that says veteran, because they don't want the stigma behind it. What I would ask the employers is to try to do some research to get away from those stigmas about PTSD, about TBI. If I only have one eye, he's blind, I can't hire him. just kind of stay away from the stigma and just look at the body of work that's on that resume and find a way to adapt and overcome. I'm using all these Marine terms, to adapt and overcome for that employee. Like, I checked in here, I'm blind, I needed a bigger screen. Day 2, I had a bigger screen. Build that work with that individual, because a lot of these veterans really want to work, but they may have got burnt in the past. And they're like, nah, I'm not even going to worry about it anymore, because they're going to treat me like that last person did.
So far through your efforts at SourceAmerica, what successes have you seen?
3rd day on the job, I was on travel. Like, just started the job. I kind of knew what I was doing. They're like, hey, we need you to go to Illinois. There's a member of Congress getting an award, because we have a Champions Award that we give to members of Congress that have visited one of the bases that we have a government contract with. They order the stuff from Skillcraft or Ability One that's made by people with disabilities, and they wanted me to go down there because Congressman Boss was a former Marine. So they're like, hey, you're a Marine, you're the only Marine on our team, you're going. I'm like, okay, cool. The first place we visited, there was this gentleman, and he was wearing a Marine Corps baseball cap. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna definitely introduce myself to him. Hey man, how'd you get started with the program? He got out, didn't really know what he wanted to do, and he's like, hey, I like being outside, I like doing yard work. So he became one of our lawn guys. Moved up, he was with the Ability One program, moved up. Now he's a manager, and he's like, I don't want to quit, because I have this dude over here, I have that dude over there, that he was in the Army, he was in the Navy. I like being around here, and I work at the chow hall a little bit here. I do this. I get to run into admirals and generals all the time. It's really cool, and that's what I'm missing from my life, is still being able to serve and be on those bases and things like that. I thought it was really cool, and that was my 3rd day on the job. I'm like, oh, we're making a big difference.
If you're an employer and you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of military bases, you really can't go to a military hiring fair, but doggone it, you want to give back. Do you have any advice or thoughts for them?
So I kind of ran into that when I was out on Long Island as a recruiter. There was no Marine Corps base in Suffolk County where I was at. And I'm like, man, I've got 3 Marines in my office, just us 3. You can only go to Dave & Buster's so many times to catch up. So I started looking around. There's Marine Corps leagues out there. There's American Legions out there, VFWs. Get out there and try to become the vice president or the president or the treasurer of those small chapters in that community, because you're going to be making that difference in that community.
I'll go ahead and give you a chance for some last remarks, and then we'll close it out.
I think the biggest thing I had was just the commitment we're bringing to competitive jobs, stable pay, and integration into that local community for the disabled community. And of course, that room for advancement, because everybody thinks, if I'm starting off as a PFC or a Lance Corporal, am I going to get promoted in this job? Am I going to do this? We bring that advancement potential to all of the jobs.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear it. I'm glad to be a part of it. We should hire more veterans. I'm always going to be on board for that. And if you've already hired as many veterans as you can, you should promote them. So that's where I'm at. But all right, cool. Well, with that being said, I appreciate everyone who's taken the time to watch this, partner highlight. Johnathan Rose is an amazing veteran. If you ever need to reach out to him, you certainly can talk to me or reach out to SourceAmerica.org. Is that the name of the website? Did I get it right?
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, so go check out the website. Click on the link if you're an employer. Look for jobs and sign up if you're a veteran. With that being said, thank you for your time.